Hey, what's up everyone? Sorry for the lack of videos lately. I just took a little break from the series. I'm gonna try to get back into it and have the same amount of posts that I did before. Try my best to make them daily. But this video will be over Sub-Zero, and I think this video will probably be the most difficult to explain as far as these changes, because a lot of people have issues with Sub-Zero being a 50-50 character. You know, people online on Twitter always say, oh, I just got mixed to death or robbed, whatever. So a lot of these changes are kind of in-depth and have a lot of explanation. And I feel like Sub, being the 50-50 character that he is, I think that his wake-up game should be much weaker, since, you know, whenever he steamrolls you and you finally stop him from steamrolling you, he still has wake-up attacks, which I think he shouldn't have as good of wake-up attacks as he does, honestly. I think, in my opinion, he should be like a high-risk, high-reward type of character. If he's on defense, his defense should be really bad, and, you know, his offense would compensate that. But anyways, let's get right into the video. Down 1 into backdash buttons shouldn't work. Forward 2 should be a raw overhead knockdown that hits the opponent into a sliding state, be 60% on hit, plus 15 on hit, and is minus 6 on block. 3-3 should have no pushback on block and be plus 4 on block from plus 1. Jump 1 shouldn't hit so low to the ground and should whiff when performed in early frames of jumping. This jump 1 is by far the dumbest and best jump 1 in the game. It's pretty much not anti-airable. The second he leaves the ground, you're not going to be able to react in time to anti-air him. It hits so low to the ground when he's so high up in his jump arc, which doesn't make any sense. And on top of all that, he has really insane mind games off of the jump punch on block. He can decide to jail into down 1 if he thinks you're going to mash, baiting a high attack string or something, or his back 3. And if you respect his follow-up strings, he could get 50-50'd or stagger pressured, whatever. He has a lot of options, even if you block his jumping, which most of the time you have to, since it's not anti-airable. Up 3 should be minus 10 on block from minus 7, and minus 15 on flawless block from minus 12. Deep freeze should be 1 slot from 2. Death Sickle Barrage should be 30 frame startup from 36 and be minus 10 on block from minus 17. Frigid Storm should travel full screen and shouldn't get smaller as it travels. Cold Shoulder input should be back forward 4 to take away input conflictions with slide, and the KB on Amplify should trigger if Cold Shoulder was used as a reversal punish from it triggers if this attack as a counter or a punish. Arctic Trap should be 1 slot from 2 and should be 30 frame startup from 41. Sub should have a 1 slot custom called Arctic Training that allows Sub to have his current forward 2 4 string and its properties. This is to balance out all the custom slots being 1 slot, and so he wouldn't have 50-50s on top of a bunch of traps and other tools. Ground Ice should be unbanned, should have 0 recovery frames from 43, do 0% from 70%, and should cost 1 offense bar. This would make the unblockable Ground Ice that is currently meterless be the amplified version. Ground Ice Amplify should be 14 frame startup from 45, have the same range and hitbox as the regular Ground Ice from traveling full screen, should have the same active frames as regular Ground Ice from 85, shouldn't use any bar from 1 offense bar, and should be a mid from a low, but rolls should be immune to this version of Ground Ice. To make this easier to understand, in shorter terms, the regular unblockable Ground Ice should be the one that costs a bar to eliminate wake up options, whereas the meter burn one should be the meterless version for like a defense tool in neutral or a knockdown tool for pressure. And the best way I can compare this to how I would imagine its redesign and the way that I would make it is I would make it like Predator's EX low mine from MKX, but obviously in this version of Ground Ice it would be a mid still. But that's the best way I can explain it, is You throw it out there after a knockdown, and your opponent stands up into it, and you have an advantage. Or if they wake up or something, they get caught. You know, stuff like that. Just a quick recap or summary over the changes I listed. Over the base kit, down 1 and the backdash buttons shouldn't work. This should go for all of the roster, but sub is most notorious for doing this. Forward 2 should be a raw overhead knockdown that hits the opponent into a sliding state. Be 60% on hit, plus 15 on hit, and is minus 6 on block. 3-3 should have no pushback on block and be plus 4 on block from plus 1. Jump 1 shouldn't hit so low to the ground and should whiff when performed in early frames of jumping. Up 3 should be minus 10 on block from minus 7 and be minus 15 on flawless block from minus 12. Now for customs, ground ice I won't list all the changes for since there were so many, but in short, it should have the rework I mentioned earlier in the video to be a defensive and knockdown tool. Cold shoulder input should be back forward 4 to take away input conflictions with slide, and the K beyond amplify should trigger if cold shoulder was used as a reversal punish. From it triggers if this attack is a counter or punish. Frigid storm should travel full screen and shouldn't get smaller as it travels. Death sickle barrage should be 30 frame startup from 36 and be minus 10 on block from minus 17. Arctic trap should be 1 slot from 2 and be 30 frame startup from 41. Deep freeze should be 1 slot from 2. Sub should have a 1 slot custom called Arctic Training that allows Sub to have his current 424 string and its properties. And those are my changes to Sub-Zero. My idea for these changes that I was trying to go for was, since he's such a polarizing character, he should be more polarizing in the sense that if you knock him down, it should be polarizing for him, but if you don't knock him down, he's going to make it polarizing for you. And also with the whole ground ice stuff, that move, it really shouldn't be the way it is right now. It's useless and it's also banned. But I think with the rework suggestions I gave it, it would be way more useful, and it would be like a way less cheaper version of the ice clone, like way less cheaper. But let me know what you guys think of these changes on Sub. He's a very controversial character, and I hope these changes are changes that you guys would agree with.